This will bring me to part 2 of this debate, viewers. You have heard one set of hypocrites. Now let's expose another set of hypocrites. And let's make that transition. George Soros, the man on your screens, is not going to like this. Neither will a posse of alarmists who have been frantically sounding the metaphorical alarm bell warning of profound democratic backsliding in India, many of whom are also part of the opposition in India. But findings of a global survey on the state of democracy conducted by one of the most credible agencies, the Pew Research Institute, and released in June this year, reveals that 77%, yes viewers, 77%, more than 3/4 of all Indian respondents to this survey are satisfied with Indian democracy or the state of democracy in India. 77%, viewers, contemplate that number, are satisfied with the state of Indian democracy today. The Pew Research Survey was conducted in the context specifically of India before the Lok Sabha elections. Viewers, Indians in fact are by far more satisfied with the state of democracy in their country than the citizens of some of the world's more high-income democracies. If 77% of all Indian respondents are satisfied, then in Canada it's only 52%. In United States only 31%. In the Netherlands 58%. In Germany 55%. In United Kingdom 39%. In France 35%. In Italy 32%. In Spain 20%. In Greece 22%. In Australia 60%. In South Korea 36%. In Japan 31%. In Israel 45%. Viewers, the poll that was conducted at least with respect to India prior to the Lok Sabha elections is vindication for Prime Minister Modi, who has been accused of turning Bharat into an autocracy through the executive capture of institutions. That's the charge that has been made against him. And here's what has been said about India's democratic well-being under Modi's 10-year rule. You've had George Soros on February 23rd coming out, 2023, coming out and saying, ending Modi's stranglehold on government will allow democratic revival in India. Freedom House, March 2023, comes out and says democratic rights in India remain under pressure, namely for marginalized groups. VDEM Institute, March 2023, India is one of the worst autocratizers in the last 10 years. Mallikarjun Kharge, the Congress president, January 2024, just a few months ago, said no more elections if Modi gets a third term. BJP will rule India like Putin in Russia. Rahul Gandhi in May 2024 says BJP will change constitution in his third term. BJP wants power to get rid of democracy. Viewers, let's open this up. Let's ask some basic questions. Who should we trust? Who should we trust, viewers? George Soros and his acolytes, or the people of this country who have spoken? Sanjay Jha. Who should we trust? The people of this country or some George Soros and some other, as you know, well-funded by George Soros, so-called pretension intellectuals? Who should we trust?
Rahul, let me try and answer you very quickly. Number one, we should trust the Supreme Court of India.
Okay.
Because the Supreme Court of India said, when in broad daylight, the people of India saw how in the Chandigarh mayor elections, there was an attempt, a brazen attempt to actually subvert the entire electoral process. The Supreme Court said, this is a murder of democracy. Let me quote to you. It is a mockery of democracy. And this is being said by the highest court in the land. And as you would know, and I'm sure the other panelists would know, the Supreme Court chooses its words with care. By the way, during the election campaign, we had the remarkable, the extraordinary occurrence of a prime minister, the first time, unprecedented, a prime minister accused of hate speeches to polarize his own country, his own people. One who took oath on the preamble and the constitution was violating the same for electoral gains. By the way, Rahul, like it or not, you can choose one report. By the way, the other part of this report that we need to understand is there are different levels of expectations in a democracy. In India, where we have vast sections of people who believe that democracy is just about going from one election to another, many of them are not aware of the risks that Mr. Modi's government has put us through. Let me give you two more examples, and then I can listen to the other panelists. The washing machine. The BJP puts chief ministers in jail from any political party, obviously opposition. It hounds people. In the Sanjay Raut case, the court had to tell the BJP that the ED's arrest is illegal. We have seen what the Supreme Court has even said on the abuse of power.
Okay.
And last but not the least, electoral bonds. In no democracy, Rahul, let me tell you, can a government operate like a mafia.
Right.
But it uses quid pro quo to procure funds from corporates.
Okay.
And it threatens people with
How do you
jail
know all this, Sanjay Jha? How do you know this happened?
It's all out there in the open.
But how? Because of electoral bonds, viewers. That's how we know.
Why don't we talk
Because
about
I'll tell you what was
Reddy
before
case?
the electoral bonds. Hang on. I'll tell you what was there for 70 years
Reddy
before the
case with
electoral bonds,
Arvind
viewers.
Kejriwal.
There was a complete blanket on who to whom was giving what funds. And we are back there, viewers, courtesy our great Supreme Court. To that cesspit of anonymity. That's where we have come right back. That's what the opposition wanted. The same opposition also wanted, viewers, the right to have ballot boxes so that they can stuff them with paper. The same courts that, no, 1 second, Sanjay Jha, the same courts that Sanjay Jha is calling upon that seem to suggest that democracy is murdered. The same court has pointed out how, in Bengal, for example, viewers, the elected government there doesn't even allow the exercise of the right to cast a vote or even hold elections for lengthy periods of time. And I'm talking about the panchayat elections, viewers, and the Supreme Court's wordings, and Dr. Ranganathan will bear me out on this. The hate speech that Mr. Sanjay Jha is invoking tonight, he forgets that the most vituperative attack on Hindus has come from allies of the Congress party. And the court said, please, it's unacceptable. He forgets, viewers, the great contribution of others in suspending democracy, expelling the constitution, in suppressing the voice, because, viewers, we think you are all fools. The same Congress party gets up today and says, what a great victory for the people of this land, that they held Mr. Modi back. Viewers, if we were such an autocracy and we were being ruled by an autocrat like Putin, do you think, viewers, you would have had the right to cast a ballot in the first place to make Mr. Modi look smaller? What kind of an autocrat would he be? But, viewers, we all think you're absolutely foolish. So we can tell you whatever we want and you will believe it. Anyhow, Dr. Ranganathan, let me bring you in, and Salvatore Babones right after that. Yes.
No, but to be honest, Rahul, is there any point? Because you've completely killed the debate with your logic and rationale. For the umpteenth time, please stop interjecting with common sense and logic, because there's no point debating after that. Of course, you're right. But I have no qualms with Congress loyalists talking about democracy is in danger and being selective to the point of extreme. That's what they are meant to do. It's fine by me. Honestly, it is. But what is the truth out here? The truth that even they would not accept is that, yes, democracy is in danger in India. But the fact is, it has always been in danger ever since we became a democracy. They will not accept it because the formulation of laws and constitutional articles and amendments were made by those whose specific purpose was to stifle democracy, to stifle free speech. Who brought in the First Amendment? It is another matter that that First Amendment that curtails our free speech has been used by every politician. So, of course, the Congress will never talk about stifling of free speech by Congress or non-BJP ruled government. They wouldn't. I don't blame them. That democracy has always been in danger. That is the difference. And I don't think that's going to change, because every politician is exploiting all those laws that stifle democracy. Let me give you a couple of examples very quickly. Sanjay, my good friend, talked about electoral bonds. He hides the fact that the same Congress party that called electoral bonds a scam also garnered 1,600 crores from it. If you were to call something a scam, why on earth will you use that same mechanism to get money? Number two, the High Court convicted the BJP of fraud using FCRA and violating it. The punishment was imprisonment. But the fact of the matter is the BJP amended the FCRA Act and escaped the High Court punishment. Who helped it do it? It was the Congress, because the Congress was also convicted. Now I ask you, this system where the Congress is decrying the death of democracy and democracy is in danger, at the same time, they are letting BJP go of large-scale election fraud, electoral fraud. Why? Because they are also corrupt.
And you know, viewers, the sad part is they think that they can pull the wool over your eyes. In fact, they did. That's the beauty of it. They did, viewers. And now you might regret in peace, or I don't know. Let me bring in Salvatore Babones. Mr. Babones, your comments on this new Pew Research poll. Should we give it priority over the VDEMs and the Freedom Houses and all the other playhouses and God alone knows what else? What do you make of it?
Indians are more satisfied than just about anyone else in the world. And this is a very high quality survey. The Pew Research Center does a medium-sized sample survey across India. That's an in-person household-based survey. They actually knock on doors. They get a high response rate. So it's very high quality data. There's really nothing to complain about the data. It's something that should be taken very seriously.
Very serious. But how do you explain the divergence between the findings of the Pew Research poll and the reportage by VDEM, that other great authority on Indian democracy, and the Freedom House?
There's often a big gap between expert opinion and ordinary voter opinion. I think if we really believe in democracy, which fundamentally means rule by the people, we should be more interested in how satisfied everyday voters are with their democracy than with how satisfied academic experts are with the quality of democracy. There are some cases where we would want an expert opinion about specific technical details, but when it comes to overall quality of a democracy, I think we should take much more seriously what the ordinary voter thinks than what the expert thinks.
That's an important point, and that's why I began by asking, who do we believe? The people of this country or some sponsored academics? Yes, Dr. Ranganathan and Sanjay Jha. Yes.
Yeah, that's where I have a slight variance with the good professor, because yes, in one sense, the democracy and the people matter, their views matter. But on the other hand, when you try and balance it out by saying, look, the others is an expert opinion, I'm sorry, they're anything but experts. They're absolutely sold out charlatan. Let me give you one example. In the VDEM report, it is written, and I quote, before 2014, Modi came to power, quote, rarely, if ever, freedom of speech was stifled. True? Is that really a fact? When under UPA in one day, 8,500 activists were charged with sedition, and the then Home Minister called them anti-national.
Let me ask Sanjay Jha this. Does he agree with VDEM and what Dr. Ranganathan has quoted? Do you believe that before 2014, freedom of speech was rarely ever stifled before 2014, Sanjay Jha? Because if you do agree, then VDEM is right. If you don't agree, then obviously VDEM is wrong.
Rahul, one of the views I have is that, cheerleaders of this government are free to carry on and live in a land of hallucination. Good luck to them. As far as the sociologist is concerned, unfortunately,
I asked you a question, a pointed question.
I'm answering you, Rahul. Give me a second. You can't be such a bulldozer. As far as the sociologist is concerned, unfortunately, sir, you are yourself an academic expert, so you have rendered yourself rather irrelevant in this debate.
No.
And as far as the people are concerned,
no, he said,
no,
1 second. Put it. He said that obviously expert opinion can be sought and matters in certain contexts.
Correct.
But let's not throw the people's opinion out with the bath. No, I've actually, he's answered for you. I don't want to go over. I have another question for him. I'm asking you this. Do you believe the VDEM report is right when it says that before 2014, there was rarely, if ever, a curtailment, a stifling of free speech?
Absolutely. And I agree that there are many sold out speakers on your show. And I do agree that the academic expert, Mr. Babones, or whatever his name is, has in fact, I think, scored a self-goal by treating himself as nothing but a theoretical,
so Dr. Ranganathan,
jargon-infested speechmaker.
Can you substantiate by telling us if there were any attempts before 2014 to stifle speech?
There may have been sporadic examples,
Sporadic.
Rahul, but at the end of the day,
sporadic.
Under Dr. Manmohan
Jawaharlal
Singh's
Nehru
government,
himself
I remember
banned
which channel
15
you
books.
were in, and that
He
channel
jailed
used to
editors.
regularly attack Dr.
Indira
Manmohan
Gandhi brought an
Singh.
emergency.
Got an FIR
Rajiv
and
Gandhi banned Salman Rushdie's book. What is he talking about? Which Lala land is he living in? There are 275 documented instances of brutal stamping of freedom of speech by Congress. And he says rarely it ever is true. I mean, that's what I mean. There is a reason why such people are suspended. The one good thing Congress has done, the one good thing rarely, now listen, let the PDs not get personal.
Okay, viewers, let me just step in. Let me step in. If someone is telling you, if we them is saying so, as Dr. Ranganathan has pointed out, that before 2014, there was rarely any stifling of free speech, then viewers, you know what to make of that VDEM report. Think about it, viewers. You don't need paid cheerleaders of any government to tell you the facts on this. Just Google them. I'll leave it at this, viewers. We'll be back with another edition tomorrow, but in the meantime, viewers, The Right Stand coming up with Poonam Budde.